Some lives are built of silk. They are wrapped in warmth and fine cloth. The days are soft. The nights are filled with light and music. Other lives are built of dust. They are cold to the touch. The days are long and hard. The nights bring no relief. These two lives can exist side by side. They can be separated by nothing more than a single stone gate. One man lives inside the gate in a world of plenty. Another man lies just outside, in a world of want. They share the same sun. They breathe the same air. But they live in different worlds. The man inside the gate was rich. Just beyond his high walls, at the very entrance to this life of ease, sat a man named Lazarus, never truly seeing the man whose entire world was framed by the shadow of his gate. The rich man's house was an island of order and beauty. In the mornings, sunlight would stream through high windows, falling across tables of carved cedar and chairs draped in embroidered cloth. The air inside was always cool, a welcome escape from the heat that baked the streets outside. The scent of olive oil lamps and sweet incense hung in the quiet rooms. In the courtyard, a small fountain trickled, its gentle sound a constant murmur of peace. Servants polished silver until it gleamed. They arranged flowers in clay vases. Every detail was designed for comfort, for a life without friction or want. His days followed a pleasant rhythm. He would wake late to a breakfast of dates and fresh cheese. He would oversee his business from a shaded portico, speaking with managers and counting his profits. His afternoons were for rest, perhaps a nap in a cool, dark room while the city outside slept under the heavy sun. In the evenings, his house came alive. Torches were lit in the garden. Music from a harp or a flute would drift through the open doorways. His life was a carefully composed song, a melody of pleasure and ease, played without a single discordant note. The market nearby was a flurry of life that fueled his household. His servants would move through the crowded stalls, their baskets filling with the best the world had to offer. All of this abundance flowed back toward the great house, passing through the same gate where Lazarus lay. Time moves for all people. It moves for the man in the palace and the man at the gate. The sun rises, the sun sets, marking the slow passage of days into years. For Lazarus, each day was a small victory against hunger and pain. His body grew weaker. The sores did not heal. His breath became a shallow thing. One day, as the sun set and cast long shadows across the street, his quiet struggle ended. He closed his eyes by the gate one last time. His suffering was over. He breathed his last breath in the dust. But in the unseen world, his passing was an event of great importance. Gentle hands came for him. Angels lifted his weary spirit. All the pain fell away. The hunger vanished. He was carried away from the dirt and the dogs, away from the cold stone of the gate. He was brought to a place of perfect rest, Abraham's bosom. It was like waking from a long, terrible dream. Soon after, the rich man also died. His death was very different. His house was filled with the sounds of loud mourning. He was wrapped in fine linen, buried in a grand tomb, a final display of his earthly wealth. He left behind his purple robes, his full tables, his cool, quiet rooms. He left the world he had so carefully built for himself. But his journey was not over. He simply moved from one house to another, from a palace of stone to a prison of spirit. In that place of torment, the rich man lifted his eyes. The darkness was thick, but through the haze of heat and sorrow, he could see something far away. It was a place of light. It was a place of peace. And there, resting in the calm embrace of Abraham, he saw a familiar figure. It was Lazarus. The beggar from his gate was no longer in rags. He was no longer in pain. He was at rest, bathed in a gentle, healing glow. The sight of this peace, so close and yet so impossibly far, was another form of torment for the rich man. A great space separated them. It was not a distance that could be measured in steps. It was a chasm, a vast and empty gulf fixed between the place of suffering and the place of rest. It was deep. It was wide. And its nature was absolute. No one could pass from the side of light to the side of darkness. And no one, no matter how much they yearned for it, could cross from the darkness into the light. The choices made in life had carved this canyon. The paths they had walked on earth had led them to opposite shores of eternity. The rich man cried out. His voice was raw with thirst and desperation. He called to Abraham across the great divide. He did not ask to cross over. He knew somehow that this was impossible. His request was small: send Lazarus, just to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool his burning tongue. He who had denied Lazarus the crumbs from his table now begged for a single drop of water from Lazarus's hand. The roles were now completely reversed. Abraham's voice came back, not with anger, but with a sad and gentle finality. He called the rich man's son, a word of connection that made the separation even more painful. He reminded him of his life on earth. He had received his good things, his comfort, his feasts. Lazarus, in turn, had received bad things, suffering, neglect. Now, the balance had shifted. Lazarus was comforted, and the rich man was in agony. And besides all this, the great gulf was fixed, set in place so that no one could pass between them. Hearing that his own fate was sealed, the rich man's thoughts turned to the world he had left behind. He remembered his father's house. He remembered his 5 brothers, still wearing fine clothes, still hosting lavish feasts, still walking past the needy at their own gates. A new fear gripped him, a fear for them. He did not want them to come to this place of fire and regret. His own suffering had opened his eyes, and now he wanted to warn them, to save them from his own end. He made one last request to Abraham. He begged him to send Lazarus back to the world of the living. He believed that if someone came back from the dead, a ghost, a spirit, a man they knew had died, his brothers would surely listen. They would see the proof. They would repent. They would change their ways. Abraham's reply was calm and clear. He explained that the rich man's brothers already had everything they needed to guide them: the words of Moses and the prophets. They had the scriptures, the sacred stories, and the laws that taught them how to live, to love God and to care for the poor. The path to a righteous life was already laid out for them. They had the light. They simply had to choose to walk in it. The rich man argued one last time, certain he knew better. "No, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they will repent." Abraham's final words settled with unchangeable truth. If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, they will not be convinced even if someone rises from the dead. The story ends there, with that quiet, profound statement hanging in the air between 2 eternities. It tells us that the heart that is closed to the truth on earth will not be opened by a miracle. The choice to see, to care, and to love must be made now on this side of the gate.